What's up guys, Powerbang here, and I am hoping that you have set aside a few minutes for today's video. It's going to contain some crucial building blocks for building your rating skill up and obtaining the 3 stars that you're looking to get. I assume that's why you're watching this, is because you're having trouble pulling off 3-star attacks. It's not easy at first when you transition from the 2-star strategies like Go Wipe and Balloonian and Go Wee Wee, the traditional raid strategies that have been around for a long time. And if you're getting 3 stars with those, it's usually dumb luck or a really bad base. As the game progresses, you're going to need to start using 3-star strategies and defense targeting high damage per second troops such as balloons and hog riders in order to obtain those 3 stars that you're seeking. So when you're attacking, there is a formula to any base. Now, you're not going to attack any base the same way, but the procedure that starts the raid, the way you open it, I call it the 3-step opener, is the same every time. There's 3 steps, as I just mentioned. The first is luring and killing the enemy clan castle troops. Now, let's take a look at some raids from our most recent war, and I'm going to go over each step one by one. And at the end of the video, we're going to kind of see how they all work together and how you can actually tag team multiple steps at once with the same troops. So you're accomplishing multiple objectives and kind of progressing your raid down the path it needs to go towards to get a 3-star, but you're doing it very efficiently and using very minimal troop space. So let's step into a raid here, and remember our first goal for any attack is to lure and kill the enemy clan castle. So the first thing that you have to do is figure out where in the base the clan castle is. And on this base, it is in the bottom center of the base. And what you'll notice is, we can't see the exact radius because it's a replay, but I would assume, we're looking something like that, where this defense down here is going to have to go down in order to get the lure successfully, or you'll have to bring in some troops over from the side. So that's how we're going to go ahead and get the lure done on this one, and then we need to bring them over to the side somewhere away from the defenses. Like when you lure this clan castle, they're obviously going to filter out towards wherever the troops are that lured them out. Now, you don't just want to drop a bunch of wizards or witches or archers or whatever you're using to kill them. You don't want to just drop them wherever they come out because there's defenses there that are covering that area. What you want to do is bring them to an open area that isn't covered by defenses. That is how you lure and you pull the CC to where is advantageous for you to begin your attack. And the way you do that is by dropping Barch troops. And now Barch are either barbarians or archers, basically tier 1 troops that are very cheap and easy to make, and they use only 1 housing space. So 1 army camp space is devoted basically, using 1 at a time. You'll trickle some troops down, and then you'll actually lure those troops that came out. They will head towards your Barch troops that you're dropping to get the lure done. Now, there is a very, very particular method that we, use and promote that others use, and that's dropping first your Barch troops as a distraction. And you'll notice he has brought 4 Barch troops. He'll drop those first as a distraction, and then he'll back that up with 2 witches, and then a couple wizards, and then finally his archer queen will come out behind those troops. Now, we do this the same way every time, and the key to this is that your barbarians go down in front before you use your witches behind them. And the reason for that is, as the enemy clan castle troops are coming over, they will target whatever is currently down on the battlefield, and that is your barbarians. And now, as they're targeting your barbarians, your job is to get those witches down behind them and have them spawn their skeletons that begin moving towards the enemy clan castle troops before your barbarians die. And the key is they have to be dead, or they have to be down and producing skeletons before the barbarians die. The reason being is if they are not down in time and the barbarians all die and the witches are on the battlefield but have not yet produced a skeleton, the next troop that this enemy clan castle troops target are your witches, and they go down. This is where the clan castle lure and kill gets a little bit hairy. So bottom line is get your barbarians down, witches behind them, and then get your wizards behind them, and they'll do the bulk of the damage, the splash damage to take out multiple troops at once. And your archer queen is kind of a fail-safe that will back everything up, and she takes out, with a very fast rate of fire, she will take out the remaining troops. So first things first, we'll start this raid up. We'll notice that he's going to send one hog in from the right to get the giant bomb tripped, and he does that and then sends 3 in from the bottom. Now, he's gotten most of the lure done. As those hogs move into the radius, all of the troops are lured, and then they're actually going to drop an archer over on the left side of the base. Now, pausing it here because I want to point out that he already has his archer and 2 barbarians down, and all of these troops here are coming to target these troops here. So continue with the video here. Now I'm going to pause it again, and you'll notice the barbarians are actually still alive, his witches are down, and all of those witches have skeletons that are down in front of them. So he's done that successfully, and there they go. They're off to the races. They work their way up. The skeletons continue to provide a distraction while the wizards and the archer queen take out all of the troops. They continue to move up, and when you have a witch in the enemy clan castle, that's one of the hardest things to take out. It takes a while, but be patient. So he's gotten the kill done. Everything was successful, and you'll notice he still has a couple wizards, and he has both witches still alive, and his archer queen has taken no damage. So he, for a few troops cost to send in a lure, he was able to empty the enemy clan castle, which contains the highest output of damage defensively in the whole base. He was able to kill that away from the defenses and without losing really any valuable troops. So that's how you do it. We're going to watch a couple more examples of luring and killing the CC. So we'll step into number 8 here, and he's going to come in with a few hogs from the top. Everything comes out. You'll notice there's wizards, and then there's a witch that spawns some skeletons, and he's going to anchor on the right with an archer. Same thing here. Behind the archer, you notice a couple barbarians are going to come down for distraction, and behind those barbarians, what do you see? The witches. The skeletons are already up, and he's got wizards behind those, an archer queen, and he is able to quickly dispatch of the enemy clan castle troops. Again, with witches in the enemy clan castle, they will go down. They take a little bit longer just because they spawn skeletons that, takes a little bit longer. So you just got to be patient. They will go down. So another good job killing the CC there. Let's look at one more example here of luring and killing the clan castle. So on this base, he drops a bunch of balloons to target some defenses that are not covered by air defenses. Speed this up a little bit. Behind those, one hog, or a couple hogs also come in as well to make sure that there's no balloons in the clan castle. If you send air troops only, such as balloons, you're not going to empty the clan castle, and you run the risk of a balloon, a surprise, popping out midway through the raid to kill your troops. So a couple of barbarians go down here, witches behind. You've got your heroes backing that up. Now he drops his king here to help with the kill of the archer queen, but the same thing. Enemy clan castle troops are taken care of relatively quickly, and the raid commences. So the next step of any successful raid, as we kind of segue from the last raid there, is killing the enemy archer queen. You have to gain access to her and then take her out, because she puts out more damage than any other singular building. Incredible rate of fire, incredible range. If you don't address her, she will put the hurt on you, and your raid will not end well. So let's take a look at a few examples on how we can access and kill the archer queen. So the first step is luring the clan castle here, and we've kind of covered that, so we're going to fast forward through it a little bit. The lure comes out, comes to the right side of the base. He drops his witches, his kill squad here to take out the queen, and then you'll notice he's going to drop a golem. The queen is buried fairly deep in this base, so what I want to do is kind of point her out. She's all the way back here, and she will, when the little question mark comes above her head, she will actually leave her platform a little bit and come stand. Usually it's around 3 to 4 tiles away from it. If the pad is next to a wall, she will always jump the wall in order to get closer to the threat to deal with it more quickly. And that can work in your favor if she is within like a second layer of walls where you only need to break an outer wall. And that's what the case is here. He drops a golem right here to attract the defensive fire here, and then once everything is shooting at his golem, he's going to send in some wall breakers to break that compartment, and the golem will go in to attack the defenses like the archer tower here and the mortar and the air defense, like he always does. The way you kill the queen is you can drop your barbarian king, and the barbarian king, as long as he is in the range of the queen's platform. So the queen's platform has a range something like this. That's close. As long as he gets in that range, it's actually a little bit further than that, probably like out here. As long as he gets into that range and that enemy queen does any damage at all to one of his troops, he will stop what he's doing, lock on to the queen, and go kill her. That is the best way to take care of the archer queen, is to use your king for the purpose of taking her out. Other troops that work for that are P.E.K.K.A.s, and you can actually use your archer queen and wizards if you're able to funnel properly. Check my video on funneling if you're unfamiliar with that term. But if you're able to funnel properly and trim these outer buildings here, you can actually create that runway that moves straight into your objective. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up again. The next step is sending in the wall breakers here to break this compartment and get the golem in. Now his wizard on the bottom has created his funnel, and you'll notice his king goes down and he will enter the compartment. As soon as this happens and the archer tower goes down, they get in just far enough. You'll see the queen is on alert. She shoots somebody. The king locks on, goes over, kills her in 2 shots. So the archer queen is dead and the clan castle is dead. Those are the 2 biggest threats that there are in a defensive base. So good job taking those out. Let's check out a couple more examples of ways you can access the archer queen. Now keep in mind that she's not always easy to access. It's not always just a 2 wall breaker thing or drop a troop thing. Sometimes you're going to have to utilize a jump spell in order to access her. So if you look at this base, he's going to, as we watched before, he sends his hogs in here and a hog in here to get the lure. He's going to pull the troops over to the side here, take care of them, and you'll notice that when you kill an archer queen, you're going to want to double up on, go double duty with your kill squad troops that you used for your clan castle kill as much as possible. That means when you're looking at a base and you're scouting a base, okay, where do I want to lure these clan castle troops to? It is almost always going to be on the side of the archer queen, wherever it makes the most sense to get that done. So, there's an opportunity on this base to lure them over here, but that doesn't do anything for you because then you're going to have to spend a substantial amount of troops over here. You're going to have to spend 2 witches, 2 wizards, perhaps your archer queen over here to get that kill squad dead, and then you'll have to turn around and send a golem in on this side with a barbarian king, some wizards to funnel, spend a spell, and that gets expensive, and it's going to leave you with very little troops to actually do the bulk of your raid, and that's just not smart. So what you want to do is you want to double up and do double duty. So the same troops, you do your lure, get them over here to the side on the queen side, the same troops that do the killing on your CC lure and CC kill can then do the funneling, the breaking into the base, and the heroes that you actually dropped oftentimes are the same ones that go in and take care of the archer queen. So that's how you want to lure and get the troops over to the side of the base that the archer queen is on. 99% of the time, that's what you're going to be looking to do. Lure and then take them to the archer queen. So go ahead and continue on with this raid. So he's going to go ahead and pull the troops out, take him to the left. He's going to do his kill. And after he does that, you're going to notice that he's going to send in a golem right there, and that's going to get the queen's attention. The little question mark's going to show up over the top of her head, and what he's looking to do is get access to her. You notice she's not hopping out of that compartment, and accessing her with wall breakers might be tough because you break this outer wall, and maybe she doesn't hop over the wall and she just slaughters you from behind the protection of a wall, and all of your troops just beat on the wall while she kills them all. So what we do to combat that is drop a jump spell over 2 different walls here. Now, a 3x3 building that's inside that has a wall on both the front and the back of it. A jump spell can go over both of those. If there's an empty space on one side or the other of the building, the jump spell will not cover that compartment. So if you look at this one, there is no space on the front or the back of the building, so you know your jump spell can cover the back of that. So his plan is to funnel the buildings, get his little runway going to his jump spell, and then drop that, and then drop his king. And as soon as that enemy queen shoots one of his troops, his king will jump over using the jump spell, hop into this compartment, and get her killed. And then he's free to commence the rest of his raid. So we'll continue. Here comes the golem. It goes in for tanking. Every defense is shooting at it. The queen is still firing at that golem. The king jumps over the wall, jumps over the second wall, locks onto the queen, uses his ability. She goes down. And at that point, you'll notice the hogs come in and his raid can begin. So, one last example here. We're going to go to one more replay and look at a little lower base. And the same thing. We're going to watch the lure happen, and where is he going to pull those troops? Well, if you pause it here, we're going to pull him to the top because the queen is sitting in the upper compartment, centralized, and there's this giant open space above him. And if you'll remember, if the queen, the platform, is up against a wall like this, as troops approach, she will jump over the wall to take them on. Not the smartest thing in the world, queen, but hey, that's what happens, and that's the way the game works. So go ahead and start this up. The lure happens. They're pulled outside the base. Golem goes down as the troops are being cleaned up here from the clan castle, and you'll see the wall breakers come in from the top. Wall's broken. The golem comes in. The queen's still got the question mark, like she's at attention. This archer tower goes down, and she sees him and jumps out. He locks on. She locks on to the golem, and our archer queen takes her out in no time at all. As soon as one of your heroes is in range of that queen and she shoots one of your troops, they will switch from what they're doing and go take her out. So that's going to wrap up step 2, and that's killing the archer queen. You're going to need to gain access to her. Sometimes if she's on the outside portion of a base, all you need to do is drop your king. And now that's something that you're going to need to practice doing, is determining, okay, where can we use a suicide king? Now here's a base where a suicide king makes a ton of sense. The archer queen is in the very outer compartments of the base, and as she circles her platform, she'll actually jump outside of the walls. So if at the beginning of your raid you wait for her to circle the platform, jump outside the wall, you can drop a king right on top of her, and she will shoot him. He will immediately be raged up, can go in and take her out. Anytime you encounter a straight trade for your barb king for their archer queen, you need to do it every time, because she is one of the most dangerous defensive structures or people or troop that the enemy can have in their base. So let's start this beginning of this raid here. You'll see her jump outside the wall. Barb king goes down. He gets raged up, and he takes her out in about 3 shots. So that is a suicide king in action. So moving on to step 3, the last thing that we're going to try to focus on when we open up a raid is accomplishing a secondary objective using minimal army camp space. Now, a secondary objective is an objective that further pushes your main raid troops towards being able to obtain a 3-star attack. And what I mean by that is if you're going to attack with Hog Riders, for example, what's the bane of all Hog Rider attacks? That is the giant bomb. They do 150% damage to hogs, and when it's doubled up, so you stack your giant bombs and put them right next to each other, it's called a double giant bomb. When you see double giant bombs, it can wipe out any level of hog and vaporize them instantly. They're done. So that is the primary hazard to using Hog Riders in a raid. So when you attack, you want to take out as many of those potential traps and hazards right away. Now, another thing that does damage to Hog Riders, and it's not so much during the raid, but it's as that last heal is expiring. They've pathed through the whole base. They've activated all the traps, gotten in range of all the different defenses. And along the way, they've picked up a trail of skeletons that have come out of the skeleton traps. And they chip away at your hogs, and they do a surprising amount of damage. Those are other things that if you know where they are, or have seen a replay that has revealed trap locations, if you can very cheaply trigger a skeleton trap, do it. Because getting those out of the way up front is a very, very, very efficient way to keep your hogs at full health and available for cleanup duty at the end of a raid when all the defenses are down. So we've watched this opener several times now, and what I want to point out is if you look at the scout on this base, what do you notice? I mean, there's hardly no spots for double giant bombs and very few spots for single giant bombs. The spots that they do have are here and here. And then for potential doubles, you've got a potential one here, and then up top, if we move up there, you've got a potential double giant bomb here or here. Because of this whole little moat, it could be anywhere behind there. So those are going to be your primary, bomb locations. And there is a way to take care of these before your raid even starts, and then in the case of this base, while your raid is happening. So what Drew notices is, first off, he can send in one hog to this spot here. All he's doing is targeting the left-hand side of that cannon. So if we clear this, when he sends in his hogs, he's going to send them from about this spot right here, and he wants to make sure that it's closer to this cannon than this archer tower, so it targets the cannon. But he sends it from right here, and it's going to target the left side of that cannon. And when it hops over the wall, it's going to trigger a giant bomb if it's there. The same thing can be done on the other side by sending a hog here, targeting the right side of this cannon. It will trigger a double giant bomb if it's there. Now, another cool thing that Drew realized on this raid is the only other risky spot of the base from a bomb perspective is the top, where this little moat exists. And the way to eliminate the risk there is not by tripping the bombs, because you notice it's protected by all these high HP storage buildings, and it's also got a defense in here that you have to spend a little bit of troops to take out. What you would do to get to this position is, instead of sending hogs in or trying to bust into that location, all you have to do is take out the cannon. And because he realized that cannon is quite a ways away from the rest of the raid, he noticed when he sends his hogs in, he does a two-fingered drop, and when he sends it to this wizard tower, it's going to path to this tower, then this tower, then this tower. And what's the next closest building to that tower? It's not this, it's the wizard tower. So as that happens, the hogs continue out this side of the base, and as they're moving away from this cannon, what that does is, when he wipes out the rest of the defenses, that cannon will still be alive, and all of his hogs, with the Barbarian King and all the skeleton traps they've attracted along the way, they're going to have to make their way back up to that cannon and take it out. And in doing so, they're going to cross this potential threat. It's a potential double giant bomb, and it will kill the entire pack of hogs, and then he will have nothing left to clean up the base. So he will not achieve the 3-star here if this cannon is not dealt with. So let's go ahead and watch this raid, pay special attention to how he neutralizes some of the secondary threats to his raid by sending in troops in advance. So he sends in to start on the right, 1 hog. He's going to target the left-hand side of that cannon. It's tripped. So on the bottom, he sends a few more hogs to get the lure done. 2 skeleton traps are triggered. So this means that he's able to lure those skeletons as part of the clan castle lure over to the side of the base and get those killed. So now he doesn't have to worry about skeletons at the end of his raid. As he sends his golem in, he throws down a jump spell to access the queen and get her killed. Now once the king goes in, takes out the queen, here comes his hogs. He sends a 2-fingered drop, and notice how they path just like I drew. Now Drew knew this from studying the base, but as they path up to this archer tower there, notice that they don't go to the cannon. They go down to the wizard tower because that's the closest building left alive. Now, on the top, check out the balloons that come in to take out this cannon as the hogs path through the rest of this base. This eliminates the pathing of the hogs back to that spot, and it also gives him a balloon in the cleanup of this base. So fast forwarding here, takes out the last couple defenses here with his hogs, and you'll notice during the cleanup process, watch the wizard at the top. Bomb, bomb. So had he not taken out that cannon, those bombs would have killed his hogs, and he would have not 3-starred this base because there would have been too much left up, and he would have ran out of time. He does get the 3-star though, and it was because of smart planning, and it was because he took out the clan castle troops, he killed the queen, and he took out a bunch of secondary objectives, took out a bunch of bombs, and erased the pathing to the bombs on other portions of this base. So that was a great raid. Let's check out one more raid that is going to highlight the secondary objectives. Now, this is an air raid. Now, in an air raid, you don't really care about tripping giant bombs because that is not the primary threat. The primary threat to your air raid is the air defense. So, when you attack, you know that you're going to have to enter the base and take out the queen. The queen is located here. Now, there are 2 options for this. He can enter the base from this side and target this air defense as well. This is probably an easier kill, but you have to take into account that it's probably a more difficult clan castle lure and clan castle kill, because if he lures the troops over here and kills them, he's in range of all of these defenses because he has no room. So what Drew does here is he opts to take the troops out to this side of the base, and he does his killing out here with the goal of breaking the wall at this point, moving in, taking out the queen in this compartment, and then subsequently taking out the air defense. And as soon as that air defense goes down, the Lalunian attack that he's got planned, he can commence with the lava hounds. So you're going to see here, Drew is going to lure the clan castle troops, pull those over to the side, and then a golem's going to go down to break into that compartment. We've already watched this raid once before, so we know that he's going to break in there to get that queen. And once that happens, notice what the king does after he gets in there. So the king goes in, takes out the queen, and then what's he going to do next? Deals with a few skeleton traps that have popped up, but the golems and the king move over to the air defense. Now, as it's obvious that's going to go down, watch the top right-hand corner of the base, and you're going to notice right when it goes down, that objective is completed, and the hounds are going to come into the base. So that's all it is for secondary objectives. Once that air defense goes down, it's very, very difficult to stop a Lavalunian attack. So great job there getting that 3rd step done to your successful opener, and that's removing a threat by completing a secondary objective with your opener troops. So you might be wondering why we do these things. Okay, you just told us a bunch of crap to go do at the beginning of the raid. Why do we do it? So let's look at a few attacks that didn't go so hot. So we hop into this raid on a Town Hall 10. A lot of folks are using standard go wipe attacks still for Town Hall 10s, and that's fine because of the introduction of the Inferno Towers to the game at the Town Hall 10 level. You're not necessarily aiming for 3 stars unless you're using like a Lavalunian type strategy. And 2 stars is a very good performance on a Town Hall 10. We're working our way up to Town Hall 10 3 stars. However, we're looking at a 2-star attack here. So First thing that happens is he tries to send in a few hogs on the bottom right and hits a Tesla right away. So his plan to send those in and get them in range fails. So you'll notice, even though he gets them into this cannon late and alive, he miscalculated where to lure this clan castle from anyways. And if he did want to lure it there, he needed to bring like 6 hogs in order to get that defense down quickly, get to the next defense, and then lure the entire clan castle and get it emptied. So it's a big mistake that I see a lot of Town Hall 10 players make, is they only bring like 2 or 3 hogs to do their lure with. And because there's more defenses at the Town Hall 10 level than there are at Town Hall 9, they're able to make a larger ring that covers more area and makes the lure actually more difficult. Combine that with the fact that there's 35 slots in the clan castle rather than 30. There's more options for troops, and you typically have more troops in a Town Hall 10 castle. So it's a more difficult lure, and you have to account for that when you're building your armies. So bring more troops, first of all. You got a little bit of unlucky break there that a Tesla popped on the outside of the base, as this was the first raid. So we decided, all right, got nothing else to get this lure done. I'm going to go ahead, drop my golems, get my wall breakers instead. Fast forward a little bit as they break into the base here. Let's see what kind of impact that had on his raid, not getting that lure done. So as they make their way into the base, he gets his freeze down, and you'll notice that here comes the clan castle troops. You'll notice that there's 2 witches in there, and unfortunately, one of them and the other jumps the wall here, and they just stand behind the wall. Now, he gets them frozen once, but you notice all 3 of his P.E.K.K.A.s that are notoriously terrible at taking out skeletons are just getting roasted by Infernos, roasted by the King, roasted by the Expos, and endless amounts of skeletons are keeping them busy in the process. All the while, they're just sitting behind the wall, spawning those skeletons over and over and over, and there's no way to take them out. So the raid ends in failure. Everything is completely dead right off the bat, all because those clan castle troops were not dealt with. He intended to get the lure. It wasn't like he completely just ignored it. But the fact is, the lure did not get done, and those troops really, really put a hurting on him. So this is why it's incredibly important that you get the lure done every time. Get those troops out. Get them killed on your terms rather than on their terms. This attack was going decently well until you'll notice the Suicide King there on the top. The Exposed Queen, that was his first step. He did that before he even lured the clan castle troops. He used the Suicide King and dropped it right on where the queen location was, gets her killed. Then he sends in a couple giants to get the CC lure. And the problem with this is he thinks he has the lure. Does his normal kill squad stuff, couple troops as a distraction, groups them up. Here comes the witches, here comes the wizards, Archer Queen backing that up. All is well. So now step 1 and step 2 are accomplished, right? I mean, we've lured the clan castle. We can go ahead and send in our troops. Well, wrong. Look what just came out of the clan castle. It is another wizard. So as his hogs move into this base, notice the wizard's just going to tee off. Boom, boom, boom. They're almost all the way down to dead. They hit a giant bomb. The wizard's still teeing off on them. And just like that, all of those hogs are gone. The entire pack, with the exception of 10 hogs, are dead, and the base only has 17% damage. So what you really got to make sure of here is that you get all of the troops out of the clan castle. You'll get used to counting troops. And if it doesn't seem like there's enough, it never hurts to send another luring troop in there to try to make sure it's empty. So we'll check out a raid here real quick that has a failed Archer Queen kill and see how that affects the raid. Now, I promise you that leaving the Archer Queen alive was not the intent here. Things just didn't go right. He sends in a hog here, one single hog to get the lure done. Now, one single hog to get a CC lure will almost never work unless there's like 2 witches and like a balloon in there where it's only like 3 or 4 things that has to come out. You will almost never get the lure with only 1 hog being sent in. So he's going to bring the clan castle troops over, get those killed. As he's wrapping up with that, you're going to notice his plan is to drop this golem. And the plan was to have the golem access the wall at this point. Now, we've scouted this base before from a previous attack. We know that there's a Tesla that is right here, and we know there's a giant bomb that's right here. We'll put an X for the bomb. His goal was to break in with the golem at my arrow here, and then have the golem trip the bomb in addition to tank the queen, and then send in funneling troops, and then send in the heroes behind. So it wasn't his intent here to ignore the queen and send in his troops without it. That's not it at all. Things just didn't go right, and as you'll see, he gets flustered and first sends in his wall breakers, and because he sends them too high now, where he originally intended to go in, he wanted to try to redirect his golem. But the problem is he no longer has shielding up there because the golem has gone further south, and the defenses are able to take out his wall breakers. So he fails to get through the wall. Now he's in trouble because his wall breaker supply is exhausted. So he drops some wizards, and his goal here is to clear out the buildings that are around where he's going to break in, and hopefully punch through this wall with wizards. But the problem is he has this building and this building's attention. So what he could have done is dropped a wizard here, a wizard here, and then the remainder of his wizards here. He would have created a small funnel, and after those two buildings were down, once this last building goes down, then they would have targeted the wall to break in to get that cannon. But instead he drops all of them in the same spot, and because there's no funnel, they circle. So we'll check out this circling action. Buildings go down, they run outside of the shielding radius of the golem, and the troops tee off on those wizards, making them basically worthless. So he sends in his hogs, and at this point he decides, okay, I'm out of kill squad troops, I'm out of anything that can hurt this queen. Well, what he forgot is he has his king and his archer queen, and they're specifically used for taking out the enemy clan castle troops and the enemy archer queen. He forgot that he had those and did not use them in this particular scenario. He still got those in his bag. Well, that doesn't really work out well because he's got a queen to take care of here, and he sends in his hogs. And watch the carnage here as she just tees off on him. So he drops a heal, but she can shoot through that heal no problem. And the heals go down. He's getting flustered here, like, what the hell's going on? Fat Finger's a heal in the grass. The queen is just basically taking it to his hogs. This raid's gone all to crap, and he knows it. From right off the bat, he's wanting to spike his phone as soon as the golem went south and the wall breakers didn't work. But just that fast. I mean, he's already basically just going to end the raid here because we needed a 3-star. Obviously wasn't going to happen. The hogs are all gone. So that's why you are going to, kill the archer queen before you start, because she will just ruin your day flat out. The last raid I want to show here is, let's go with Steve-O's attack on number 12. And this was an okay attack. He runs out of some juice at the end. He takes a spell here that he doesn't need. He takes a jump spell thinking he's going to use it for the archer queen. But as you remember, if you see an archer queen and she is butted up against a wall like this, she is going to jump over the wall to approach your troops and engage them. So you will not need a jump spell in this particular scenario. Now, had that archer queen been in this position, a jump spell may have been warranted because you could have then dropped it over these two walls like so, and it would have allowed your barbarian king, you could use wall breakers to get through the first wall and then beeline over both of those walls into the core. So better base analysis needed for spell usage. But more importantly here, I wanted to highlight what happens when you fail to accomplish a secondary objective. Now, we know from watching previous raids where the bombs are in this base. We know that there is a Tesla right here, and we know that there is a giant bomb right next to it right here. So would it not make sense to send in a few hogs to try to trip that bomb, or are you going to send the entire pack straight into it and have to burn a heal early? Now, burning a heal early isn't always a big deal, But when you've got one of these guys, a jump spell, you need to wait as long as possible before using that first heal, because you now have to make 3 heals stretch the whole base, which is a lot harder to do on a Town Hall 9 where there's more area to cover and more giant bombs. So let's watch here as he enters this base. He's going to do his CC lure, gets all those troops lured out. He's going to take them down, drop his barbs, his distraction troops. Here comes the witches. Golem goes down. Here comes the wall breakers. So the CC kill, the queen kill, they go great. Gets her down. Here comes his hogs. Now, where are his hogs going to path, after that cannon goes down? Well, they're going to path straight to the Tesla. And from the Tesla, they're all going to path into here. And that bomb is going to go off, and it's going to not take them out, but it's going to do significant damage, and it's going to force a heal right off the bat. So here goes the Tesla. The bomb trips. Boom. The whole pack is hit. Now he has to burn a heal right up front. Now, the heal didn't even, it was not leading his troops either, so now he's got literally, wrong tool, he's literally got this whole area to tackle using 2 more heals, and that is going to be really difficult considering they're only about this big. So he's going to have to take on a huge portion of the base with no heals, and ultimately it doesn't work out for him, and he does not get the 3-star in this raid. So that pretty much covers it. Remember, any single base that you come into, the same steps need to be applied. Consider it your Bible, your procedure, your manifesto, your operating manual, whatever you got to do. You're going to do the same 3 things, and that's going to be lure and kill the enemy clan castle. You're going to gain access to and then kill the enemy archer queen. Once that's done, you're going to want to find a way, as you're doing that, with the troop pathing, etc., to find a way to accomplish a secondary objective, whether that be destroying an air defense if you're going to use an air raid, or whether it's taking out giant bombs if you want to attack with hogs. If you're attacking with hogs and you want to get to those giant bombs, see if you can do that on your lure. Send in some troops, while you're luring the clan castle, and try to accomplish 2 things at once. So we're gonna finish up with this last this raid here. I'll play it all the way through one time. And the first thing he does is he drops some minions here where he knows he's going to have to create his funnel. He doesn't want his troops going around the bottom of the base when he pulls his kill squad over there to kill him. So the first thing he does to get his lure, he sends in that hog on the right-hand side. Not only does he get the lure, but he trips a bomb. Now there's only 3 left in the entire base that he's going to have to deal with. On the bottom, he's going to trip both of those skeleton traps and get those as well. And also, as his hogs path north, they cross over that location, and if there was a giant bomb in that location, it would have tripped right there, and he would be down to 2 bombs. However, it was not a giant bomb, it was skeleton traps. So he then pulls over the clan castle troops to the left side of the base. He gets his witches, wizards, and archer queen backing them up, and he goes ahead and takes those out. And now, it's time to kill the archer queen, now that we've gotten the clan castle lured and killed. The jump spell goes down, the golem goes in, and then the funnel is created by the wizards, and what that does is it makes it so the king goes into the jump spell and jumps into the base. He sees the queen is shooting one of his troops, he goes to save the day, rage him up, takes her out. Then come the hogs. The remainder and the bulk of your attack can start once the queen dies. Now he knows he only has a few bombs left to worry about, and due to the fact that he's destroyed the left half of the base with his kill squad, he knows that he's not going to path over one of those locations. So essentially, he's looking at only 2 bomb spots left, and he knows they're not in the core because he just killed the Teslas there. So they are going to be up top, so he destroys that location with some balloons. Now, the last key to this raid is just keeping your hogs healed up as they path through the base. Pretty simple. Just drop a heal spell in front of them. Lead them like a quarterback would a receiver. You don't want to put the heal spell on them where they are in their current location. You want just the edge at where they currently are and where they currently need the heals. That way, as they run through the heal spell, they're able to be healed up the entire time. So that's the way you do it. Lure and kill the clan castle troops, gain access to the enemy archer queen, get her killed, accomplish a secondary objective somewhere in the process, whether that be killing an air defense, taking out a bomb, etc. Do this every single raid. Find a way to get it done. If you skip any or all of these steps, your raid will end in miserable failure. I'm not going to guarantee that because sometimes you do get lucky, but I will say that more often than not, your raid will fail if you ignore these steps. So that's going to do it for this time. I apologize for the long video, but these are the core building blocks for success. Make sure that you heed my advice here. Start doing these things, and before you know it, you're going to be executing 3-star raids on max bases in no time. So best of luck to you in your wars and in your raiding. This is Powerbang, and I am signing out.